Hi my loves, I'm Anita Manager and welcome back to Sip and Simmer. It has been a while. Now we all may have our concerns and worries in life, but during the next 30 minutes, you're mine. We're here to have a drink, a snack, and a good time. Now during this episode, we will be making macarons and cranberry raspberry martinis. Now these are macarons, the French ones, not macaroons, the coconut ones. So they're these cute little sandwiches. Now, tonight, of course, we will have the beautiful Sienna Rose joining us. But before we go on, Anita Minute. Now, I know that we are all watching the news and we are engrossed with it, and I am as well. Tonight, I want to talk about Black Lives Matter, and I want to talk specifically to the All Lives Matter people. Now, I am pretty sure that there is not many people watching this that believe all lives matter over Black Lives Matter, but I just wanted to give you my opinion. I don't know if you watched my show last night that I did at Troop. I was very hot and sweaty, and as you can tell by my outfit that there's something going on. I have a terrible sunburn, but I missed you guys so much that I didn't want to put off another episode. So we are here, and we are here to talk about Black Lives Matter. Now, the reason that we are saying Black Lives Matter has nothing to do with making anybody else feel inferior or that your life doesn't matter, because yes, all lives do matter. But right now, we need to focus on Black lives and people of color. They are the ones that are being targeted by the police and by racists and everybody else in the world that doesn't have an open mind or an open heart. And I think that it is ridiculous, excuse me, that it is even a topic of conversation. We are all equal, and there is nothing that is going to change that. And until we are all treated equal, it is important to focus on the people who are not treated equally. And I think that's a big fear for people, because they think that they have to be taken down for somebody else to be treated equal, which is not the case. The case is, if you can look at somebody and think, I can go bird watching, or I can go jogging, or I can sit in my own home and not have to worry about the police coming in and shooting me or taking me down, like, excuse me, Tatiana Jefferson, Boffman Jean, Ahmaud Arbery, Christian Cooper. That's just 3-4 people that I can name right here. If you can think, I can ask for help after being in a car crash without being shot, like Jonathan Farrell or Renisha McBride. If you can think, I can have a cell phone in my pocket like Stephen Clark and not get shot. If I can leave a party to get, home safely, like Jordan Edwards, there's a problem. If you think that you can play your music loudly and not get shot and not have the police called on you, these are all things that are attributed to white privilege, and whether you feel it or not, that's an issue. If you don't feel it, that means that you're probably guilty of it, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm white, obviously, and it took me a little bit of time to understand that yes, I also do have white privilege. Of course, I've been bashed, and there's been other things that have happened to me for being a gay man or a drag queen, but these are just minor inconveniences in the grand scheme of things when people are losing their lives, like Alton Sterling, who was selling CDs, or Anaya Jones, who was sleeping at home. I can walk to the corner store, unlike Mike Brown. I can play cops and robbers, unlike Tamar Rice. I can go to church, unlike the Charleston Nine. I can walk home with Skittles, unlike Trayvon Martin. And all of these things are what are attributed to the Black Lives Matter movement. These people are not treated fairly, and it's not fair that this is even going on today. We had multiple things happen in the history of the US since slavery was abolished, and not one thing has helped. I can hold a hairbrush while leaving my own bachelor party, unlike Sean Bell. I can have a party on New Year's Eve, unlike Oscar Grant. I can get a normal traffic ticket, unlike Sandra Bland. I can lawfully carry a weapon, unlike Philandro Castile. I can break down on a public road in my car with problems, unlike Corey Jones. I can stop at Walmart, unlike John Crawford. I can have a disabled vehicle, unlike Terrence Crutchner. I can read a book in my car, unlike Keith Scott. The list is endless. I can be a 10-year-old walking home with our grandfather, unlike Clifford Glover. I can decorate for a party, unlike Claude Reese. I can ask a cop a question, unlike Randy Evans. I can cash a check in peace, unlike Yvonne Smallwood. I can take out my wallet, unlike Amadou Diallo. I can take a run, unlike Walter Scott. I can breathe, unlike Eric Gardner. I can live, unlike Freddie Gray. And I can be arrested without fear of being murdered, unlike George Floyd. This is 30 people that lost their lives because of the color of their skin, and it's unacceptable. And that is why it is more important right now for Black Lives Matter than All Lives Matter. Swallow your pride and stick up for somebody that doesn't have the same rights as you do. Now that taking white privilege as a reality check, let's take a minute to consider a Black person's experience today and what they had to think twice that you did regularly. Now, let's move on to something a little bit lighter, because that was a little bit of a heavy topic. Tonight, of course, we have Sienna Rose joining us, and to invite her on, let's start our cocktail. Now, if you stopped at Kathy's Corner and from my posts, you know that you will need simple syrup, cranberry juice, vodka, and raspberries. If you don't have raspberries, you can do like we did. And so this is the show that was supposed to happen last Thursday. I'll get into that in a minute. Or 2 Thursdays ago, excuse me. We had raspberries in the house, hence the drink. Now, instead of using raspberries, what you can do is you can just put a little bit of raspberry jam in the bottom of your glass and just cut your simple syrup in half because it's sweet enough. Now, I have my shaker here, and I have my simple syrup. I have my cranberry juice. I have my vodka. I'm going all over the place because I did not put these in order. All right, so now in order to use a shaker properly, you need ice, and she is not prepared because it has been 2 weeks since we have done this, so I'm just gonna grab some ice. Okay, so we're gonna give this a shake. We're gonna spray it all over the place. And we're gonna pour it directly into our martini glasses. There we go. It's been a while since I used this thing. Aw, isn't that nice? And it's actually super pretty. And it's gonna go really well with our macarons, which are filled with chocolate and raspberry jam also. So, without further ado, let's invite the beautiful Sienna Rose.
Hello, I'm Sienna Rose and I'm unbothered. Hi guys.
Thank you for joining us again, and just in case we have anybody new, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me, as always, at Sienna Rose Official on Facebook, Instagram, and especially the Venmo. Ding! 2 weeks and we still don't have the ding, but we'll get it together this week, I promise.
Okay, so before we take our sip, little explanation for everybody. So I'm in the middle of opening a hair salon and spa in Stamford, Connecticut, as we all know.
Are you?
And Sienna is going to be my manager because she did like that college thing where she got an education. I didn't go that route.
Right, I'm gonna manage the manager.
But we are applying for permits, and as we all know, we're going through quarantine, so everything is very limited. So it took us a lot of time to get together everything we needed for our permits, hence our 2-week break.
Oh yes.
It was a lot of work.
A lot of work, a lot of paper.
Roughly 4,500 pages worth of paper.
Oh yes.
But we are in the midst of getting our permits, and we are on the road to starting construction. So we are back, we are happy, we are healthy, except for my sunburn.
Well, you know, you can't have everything.
Okay, so let's cheers.
Cheers.
To another good night of Sip and Simmer, and a welcome back.
Yes, and also, happy Pride. It's still Pride Month.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride, yes.
This is our first episode during Pride.
Is it?
This is our
I thought
first,
we did one.
I believe this is our first episode during January.
Well,
June.
Do you know where you are right now?
I don't.
Okay.
I am so frazzled. This sunburn really got to my head. Like,
well, yeah.
It got to my head, it got to my back, it got to my love handles.
Wow.
It got everywhere.
Okay,
So I'm gonna take a sip of this.
Okay, let's do it.
This is, really?
Ooh. I mean, it's good. I wasn't expecting the alcohol kick that I
Yeah,
had.
yeah, yeah.
Because I thought, oh, raspberries gonna be light, it's gonna be sweet, I'm gonna love it. And then it was a little jolt, but after the jolt, it was good.
I believe if you shook it right, I think it would have tasted better.
Okay.
But as we all know, she works in a bar, not behind one.
Right. Yes.
Okay. So, as we all know, the word of the show is thick. And when making macaron, I believe it'll come up pretty frequently. So hold back on taking those sips.
Don't worry.
Also, throughout the evening, we have our game, and it will be What the Fact.
What the fact?
I think that during the month of June, we are going to primarily focus on What the Fact, and we will be alternating between the Black Lives Movement facts and gay pride facts.
Lovely.
Both very important things to me, and I think that it's important for everybody to learn our history in both categories. It is important for everybody to understand where both types of people are coming from. That's the LGBT community and the POC community.
And especially where those two communities intersect, because all Black lives matter. Just want to put that out there as well.
And we wouldn't even be having this conversation so freely if it wasn't for a Black trans woman starting the Stonewall riots.
Absolutely.
That's a little free fact before we even get this party started.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so again, this is a raspberry cranberry martini. It is the simplest drink, and I am 99% sure had I shaken it, it would have been a lot less strong.
I believe you.
Okay, so.
Because, I mean, I love all the ingredients in it.
Alright, so this is going to be a little, right? It had to sit for a sec? Okay, so I did a very serious Anita minute.
You did. Very well spoken.
Thank you. It took me a little bit longer than usual, so let's jump in because macarons are a little bit difficult to make and they take some time. So we're going to be attacking this from both ends. So I'm going to start.
I like where this is going already. Okay.
I'm going to start the cookie. You. I don't know. Okay. I thought somebody in the chat room. Okay.
Me too. Okay.
So our executive producer said something very inappropriate. Excuse us. So I'm going to start with the cookie.
Okay.
And you are going to start with the filling. So
lovely.
These macarons have two fillings. So we have. I'm going to pop one open and see if we can get a look.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
So on one side we have a chocolate filling. It's pretty much like a really thick ganache.
Oh. I can't believe you caught that one and I didn't.
I
It's
know.
been a long 2 weeks.
And the other one, ooh, I ripped it apart when I opened it. Okay, and the other one is just a very simple raspberry jam. If you don't have raspberry jam, you could use raspberry preserves. If you don't have raspberry jam or raspberry preserves and you have raspberries, throw them in the muddler, throw in a sprinkle of sugar, muddle them together, throw that on the macaron.
I thought you said throw them in the mother. I was like, right here. Tony ain't gonna appreciate that.
No, you just really want that tart, crisp raspberry flavor.
Okay.
Because the macaron is basically a meringue shell with almond flour, so it has a little bit of that earthy almondy flavor.
Cute.
And then we have the chocolate, and then it's just a very heavy flavor, so that's where the raspberry comes in to lighten it up a little bit.
Love it.
Cute?
Okay, so let's get these out of the way.
Okay, so I'm going to start here.
Okay.
And I have 170. Get yourself a kitchen scale. For recipes like this, it's really important for you to weigh everything out so it's a very specific measurement, especially for macaron because they are so temperamental. Today was the first time that I made them that I didn't throw them at the wall. Mr. Manager can attest to that because she had to take a minute and go for a drive the last time she made these.
Progress.
They came out great. Okay, so I have 170 grams of powdered sugar.
Okay.
I have 160 grams of almond flour. You can always grind it yourself, but that is so much work.
Grind? Who means that?
And it's just that you have to toast them, you have to dry them, you have to... No. Get the almond flour, call it a day, it comes out the same.
Perfect.
Thank you, Keely. They are a little bubbly because I didn't mat them down enough for a nice flat top.
Who cares?
But they cute and they taste delicious. Okay, so I'm gonna start to sieve this together to make sure that there's no lumps in it.
Right.
While I do this, why don't you get started? We are going to take 50 milliliters of water.
Okay.
And we are going to take 160 grams of granulated sugar, or castor sugar as Keely would call it in the UK.
Okay.
And we're gonna put that into a pot.
Okay.
And we are going to heat that up until it's 160 degrees, no, I'm sorry, 110 degrees Celsius, which is like 350, 320.
Sure.
So what we're going to be doing with that is we're going to be pouring that into the whipped egg whites.
Got it.
Okay? So you get that stuff in the pan. You have the thermometer over there.
I do.
I'm going to start to sieve this together.
Okay.
Okay, so the big mistake that people make when they're making macaron is they try and just fold in all the egg whites at the same time. Now, what I like to do is I mix just under half of the egg whites with the dry ingredients before I whip the other side. Okay, so this is just about done. If you don't use all of your dry ingredient, honey, can I help you?
I was doing the clicky thing. I didn't want to do that. Okay.
Okay, so now, once you put all your dry ingredients through a sieve, you're gonna have leftovers, and that's totally fine. Do not smash them through. I repeat, do not smash them through. They will make it heavy and they won't rise evenly, and this is not what you want. So if you wanna just hit it a few more times to get through any other pieces, but then you're gonna stop because those big pieces are what's gonna ruin your macaroni.
Ooh, we don't want that.
Okay, so here I have my powdered sugar, I have my almond flour, and now I'm gonna put in 60 milliliters of egg whites, which is just over 2 egg whites. You wanna make sure you measure this because you need a very specific amount because this is a really miserable recipe. They are not easy to make, and if you get frustrated easy, go to Stop and Shop and buy a pack.
Okay.
Because this is not for somebody who does not want to take the time and do it really slow. Get your mise en place done. Make sure that you read the recipe before you do it.
Okay.
Like,
so I will not be making these by myself then.
This is so annoying to make, but they're delicious and worth it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna take a rubber spatula and I'm gonna
I just put this in this way, right?
Yeah. So let me
Where do we want it at?
I'm sorry, it's about 220 degrees Fahrenheit that you want
Is this supposed to be, is this right? Is it not reading?
If you put it this way.
Hot, okay.
Yeah. It takes about 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Okay, so once I have, actually, you're hanging out. Can you smash that up?
Sure.
Okay, so in my stand mixer, I have the other 60 milliliters of egg whites, and I'm going to drop that in the machine, and I'm gonna whip it just to incorporate a bunch of air.
And then whip it good?
I'm gonna whip it good.
Good.
It doesn't need to be the full meringue yet because we are going to be putting the water and sugar mixture into the meringue, and I believe that's a Swiss meringue.
Sure, that sounds about right.
I'm gonna say it as it's a fact, but I'm not 100% sure.
What the fact?
Right?
That's the theme of tonight's episode.
Okay, so while we get this mixed up, why don't we go with our first question?
Let's do it.
Keely, you will not be upset with this pavlova. The recipe that's on my website is absolutely amazing. I love a pavlova. Okay, so for our first question tonight, what black civil rights leader who worked closely with Martin Luther King Jr. was arrested in 1953 for homosexual acts and moral indecency? Now, I'll read that again. Do we have multiple choice?
I really hope so.
We don't.
Lovely, gal.
So Mr. Manager came up with these questions, and he likes to make it real hard.
He does. Thanks so much.
Love you.
What black civil rights leader who worked closely with Martin Luther King Jr. was arrested in 1953 for homosexual acts and moral indecency? Now, I will tell you honestly that I don't know his name off the top of my head. We obviously have the answer.
Okay.
But in most pictures of Martin Luther King Jr.,
He's there?
he's there.
Lovely. Well, I know it's not Rosa Parks, so I'm going to eliminate that name. It's,
Alright, so the initials are BR.
Boo Radley. ER. I really don't know. Bernard. Bradley.
Alright,
Bob. I don't know.
this one's
Help.
really...
Phone a friend. Poll the
Okay,
audience.
if anybody in the chat room knows what black civil rights leader who worked closely with Martin Luther King Jr. was arrested in 1953 for homosexual acts or moral indecency.
I feel bad that I don't know this.
If anybody in the chat room knows this, we'll give Sienna the point.
Okay, please help me. Please help me. It's Pride Month. Don't make me look bad.
Okay, so.
When did I turn Southern?
I don't know.
Oh, God.
Okay, so.
Okay.
As you can see, once,
I'm tired.
just about, yeah.
Okay.
Once we have the egg whites mixed in with the dry ingredients, it should be the consistency of toothpaste. It should be very thick.
Wow, okay. Thanks so much.
Okay, so what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna, where are we temperature wise?
There.
Oh, we're perfect.
Look at that.
Okay.
Right on time.
So
Sticky.
the answer to our first question of the evening is Bayard Rustin.
I was close
Rustin.
with Bernard.
Okay. He was a major figure in nonviolence, black civil rights, and gay rights history. He helped organize the Montgomery bus boycotts. He convinced Martin Luther King Jr. to demilitarize into a nonviolent movement, and he was a leader organizer for the famous March on Washington.
Oh, lovely.
In 1963, he was arrested. Among other claims, were made public that he tried to set back the civil rights movement. Yeah. Philip Randolph spoke at a press conference backing Rustin, saying, "I speak for the combined Negro leadership." Ooh. This is a quote. That is not my word. "I speak for the combined Negro leadership in voicing my complete confidence in Bayard Rustin's character." All right.
Thank you for that quote.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly.
Is this burning?
That's done. You can pull that off the heat. I'm going to give this a quick whip.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for all of the wet.
Oh, this smells like cotton candy.
The wet egg whites at the bottom of the bowl to be light and airy.
Am I mixing something into this?
Nope.
Okay.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that from you. And I'm going to slowly
Incorporate it?
Yes!
Because it doesn't get any easier than that.
Okay. First of all, we need to get a quieter mixer.
Well,
Okay, so once there's enough air mixed into the egg whites, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drizzle the syrup into the egg whites.
we'll do that again.
Excuse me. And what it's going to do is it's going to make them super, super shiny. And like I said, I believe this is a Swiss meringue.
Okay.
Alright, so we've got enough air going over here, so I'm going to drizzle this in slowly. While this is going on, let's switch it up a little bit.
Okay.
Since Mr. Manager made the questions, not me, why don't you ask me the second one?
Okay. So, our second question tonight is, in what year did an openly LGBT plus person speak in front of Congress for the first time? And thankfully, for your question, they decided to make it easier and give you multiple choice answers. So, was it A, 1961, B, 1962, C, 1963, or D, 1964? Please fill in your Scantron sheet fully, otherwise the machine will not read your answer.
Okay. Can you ask me the question one more
Yes.
time?
In what year did an openly LGBT plus person speak in front of Congress for the very first time? 1961, 62, 63, or 64?
You know what's really awful?
What?
Is I am 99% sure Aaron and I just recently had a conversation about this. And I have to guess.
And I'm mad that you gave me the first question because I actually know this one.
I'm gonna say 19.
Well, what are they saying in the comment section?
Are you guys helping me at all in the chat room?
The comment section will help you, yes.
Okay, so before we get into it,
Uh-huh.
I am going to now just add a little bit of red food coloring to the mix.
Okay.
Give it a quick whip.
Okay. So while you're thinking about that, what are they saying in the comment section? Do we have any votes for... Okay. We have 3 people voting for 1964.
See, now
Does that help you at all?
my thing is 1964 is the latest option.
Good job, yes.
Well, no. But my thinking is that you would think that it would have to be the most recent one.
Okay. Do you want to phone a friend?
Can I ask Mr. Manager?
No, you cannot.
Okay,
You can ask me.
you know what? Since we genuinely don't have the answer, how about I let
You want to take a bet?
A bet?
Yeah.
No, because you know it.
Why? How do you know that I know it?
I genuinely don't think it's 1964. I'm sorry, guys. I know I appreciate all of your
Wow.
thoughts and your hard
You're
work.
just gonna ignore all their hard work and their Googling and all that?
I don't think it's 1964,
Do you?
and I think 61 might be too early.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 1962. What do you say?
I'm gonna say 1963.
Okay, she's born in 1963.
Look at that. Should have taken that phone a friend option.
Right?
So, the answer is 1963. So on August 8th of 1963, Dr. Franklin Edward Kameny.
Sure?
Yes.
Kameny.
Yes. He spoke in front of Congress to argue against H.R. 5990. There's a lot of numbers. Which would require all Washington, D.C. organizations that wanted, I can't read tonight, girl, that wanted to be licensed to receive charitable donations to promote the health, welfare, and morals of D.C. The bill is specifically targeting his organization, the
Machine.
Sure, I almost said machete.
Mach-
Society. The Sustained Gay Rights organization in the U.S. Thanks to his testimony, as well as others, the bill failed to pass. I believe this was in the last game of trivia. ... Possibly, maybe, who knows?
No, in the last time we talked about the Machine Society, we talked about the first LGBT society.
Okay, see, I saw the word machine. My brain went to machete, and that brought me back to the Florida man. Didn't he kill somebody with kindness?
Yeah,
With a knife and machete. Yeah.
He had his
Yeah.
machete engraved with the word kindness.
That's where my brain went. So.
Okay. So.
Am I eating today? I don't know.
In the aspect of time, we are just going to start folding in the whipped egg whites.
Yep.
So you should have a stiff peak.
Did that again.
So what we're going to do is we are going to now fold in a healthy scoop. You don't want to do all of it.
Cute.
Because you just want to start to loosen up those those dry ingredients to create a good batter for this. You want to make sure that this part is fully incorporated before you fold in the rest of it, because you don't want to lose any of your air bubbles.
Right. Because that's what makes them all light and fluffy.
Exactly. That's what you, for any meringue, you really just want to make sure that you mix it slowly. I'm sorry, you incorporate it slowly.
Right.
So you want to make sure that you do like a figure 8 in the bowl. So you scrape the sides, and then you come up the middle, and you fold it. And you just keep on doing that until everything is fully incorporated.
Right.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rest of the egg whites, and I'm going to fold that in. And you want to make sure
Just fold it in.
Fold it in. Just fold it in. Just like cheese.
Yes.
What you want to do is you want to make sure that it layers So once you take the spatula out of folding it, if you make a ribbon on top, like with the stuff that's dripping off of the spatula, it should set on top and then blend in.
Cute.
It shouldn't be separate like the stiff peaks, but it also shouldn't be liquidy. If it's liquidy, that means you overfolded it and throw it away.
Oh, there's no saving.
That's it. That's it.
Okay.
That's garbage.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm gonna mix the rest of this in.
Okay.
You know what? Why don't we keep going? Since I didn't make the questions, why don't you torture me this time?
Let's do it. Okay, can I get the next question? Thank you. Question number 3. What school had the first university recognized gay student organization? What school had the first university recognized gay student organization? Was it A, New York University, B, Columbia University, C, Yale, or D, University of Texas? Throwing you for a loop there.
Okay, now.
Was it NYU, Columbia,
Texas.
Yale,
Texas.
University of Texas?
Now, I'm gonna go out on a limb and just eliminate Texas immediately.
Wow.
You guys in the chat room can let me know if I'm being a bit aggressive, but personally, I'm eliminating Texas from the option. Okay?
I mean, that's okay. Do you? Now, Austin in the comment section is saying C, Yale. Does that help you at all?
No, because I feel like I would know off the top of my head if it was Connecticut.
Okay, and I feel like we've also talked about this recently, and I feel like I know which one it is. I don't want to get too cocky after my victory off of the last round, but
So
I do think I know which one it is.
I feel like the easiest answer would be NYU, but I'm gonna say Columbia.
Okay. And you
Does
know
anybody
what?
dispute that? Like, do I get like a hard no from saying Columbia? Like,
I don't know. I think I'm gonna back you on that as well, and also say Columbia.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident in that.
Okay.
I like having somebody else do the questions where we can like tag team it.
Oh.
There's a lot of double entendres this episode.
Okay. Keely's also saying Columbia, and she's not even in the U.S. So good on you, girl. Good on you.
Okay, so while I'm doing this before we jump into our answer,
okay,
what I'm going to do is I have my reusable piping bag here.
Yeah.
Now, I do like to use Ziploc bags for some piping. We are going to be doing that in a little bit.
I wonder what that was for.
Excuse me. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you stick your hands under the lip so I can scoop this in here.
Sure.
And then we're going to get our chocolate started. So in the meantime, we're going to throw our heavy cream in the microwave for 1 minute and 30 seconds. And we are going to be putting...
Oh, that feels weird.
I believe it's 120 milliliters of heavy cream in the microwave.
And for anybody who's just tuning in at home, what are we making, Anita?
We are making macarons.
Macaron.
Again, I'm going to say the same joke or alliteration or I don't know words.
Okay.
That macaroons are the ones that are coconut.
Okay.
Macarons are the little sandwiches that usually look prettier than this, but they're a little bit flat and they're made of meringue and they have a filling.
Oh,
so,
weird looking. But
that's fine. Okay, so. Okay. I have my parchment paper here that I just used a little cookie cutter to make little circles on. Is it too bright? Can you guys see that? And then I just trace them just so that way that they're all the same size, so that way the sandwiches line up. Okay, so while I start piping this, let's get to our answer.
Okay.
I'm gonna be 100% confident that we are gonna go with Columbia.
B, Columbia. I'm gonna back you on this. And the correct answer is B, Columbia University.
Yes. Come through.
In April 1967, Bob Martin founded the SHL, or Student Homophile League. Because homosexuality and homosexual acts were still illegal at the time, LGBT students didn't want to put their names on a list which were registered with the school for fear of school, state, or federal prosecution. So, Martin approached straight students who were sympathetic to the cause and had them sign to shield the gay students from risk. With straight people on the list, members weren't necessarily gay, and students couldn't be arrested or entrapped because they were on the list. So good on you, Martin.
Thanks, Martin. We love you. A good, strong ally. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm just using a fat tip nozzle on the piping bag.
Okay.
You know, our community has way too many double entendres, and I can't. Okay, so a wide tip nozzle thing for my squeezy thing. How's that?
Wow.
That's not any better, is it?
No, you don't. I'm still remembering your pizza shover inner thing.
That's what it's called.
Yeah. Now, how big are you making? These are like what, an inch in diameter? Radius,
these
diameter, circumference?
Radius.
I know words.
Diameter.
Okay.
Diameter straight across.
I know words, I don't know definitions.
Okay, so these are just over, they're probably like an inch and a quarter. Because again, this recipe is done with the metric system.
You don't want to do these three?
No.
Okay.
So now what we're going to do is we are going to let these sit for a minimum of 30 minutes. Yeah.
Well, good thing we have 2 more questions.
We're not going to wait.
Okay.
But what we're going to do, excuse me, I have a little tickle. So, all right, so I'm going to prepare you for this part. What you want to do is, all right, don't jump.
Why? Why would I jump?
After you have them all piped out, do both trays, go back to the first tray, and then smash it on the counter.
Ma'am?
What that's going to do is it's going to adhere it a little bit more to the parchment paper, but it's also going to help flatten them out a little bit, and it's also going to release a little bit of the air bubbles, so that way they are the right consistency.
Okay.
If you aren't as skilled a piper as I am, what you can do is if you wet your finger, and you can just use your finger to
tap them down a little bit?
Exactly, to smooth out the top. If you do that on all of them, just be aware that it will take a little bit longer for them to rest, so I would leave them out for about 45 minutes.
Okay.
What you want to make sure is that if you touch them, they don't stick to your finger.
That's why you wet your finger.
No, but I mean after you let them sit for that 30-45 minutes, they should be completely dry.
Oh.
And then you put them in the oven. Since most of us are in the US here, it's 300 degrees with the fan on, so that's with the convection oven.
Okay.
Or you're going to do it at 320 degrees and you're going to bake them for about 14 minutes.
Cute.
What you're going to be looking for, so we're going to rest these.
Okay.
And what you're going to look for is what's known as the feet.
The what now?
Feet.
Okay.
So when you take them out of the oven, I'm going to get real close so everybody can see.
Oh boy. Oh, there she is. Oh, okay.
It has a little bit
Where's my light? Oh, it's gone.
of a foot on there. And what that is, that just means that it's fully cooked and it's nice and dried out in the center.
Okay.
Because it is a meringue and you do want to make sure that you fully cook this. Because
Fully.
it's eggs and we don't want no Sally Manila. None of that.
No. No Sally Manila, no Sally May, no Sally's welcome here.
Alright, so before we get to the, oh actually, can you throw that warm heavy cream? So we have 120
Just
milliliters.
throw it right at you?
Throw it
Okay.
into the chocolate.
Sure.
And what you're going to do is you're going to let that sit for a minute.
Cool.
And you're not going to touch it. So we're going to put in 120 milliliters of heavy cream into 110 grams of chocolate. And you're going to let it sit for like 2 minutes before you stir. And what that's going to do is it's going to temper the chocolate so that you have a really nice shine on it. And you also don't get any like hard bits in it. Once you let that sit, we're going to stir in some butter. But before we get to that, let's go with our next question.
Okay, but before we even do that, let's take a little sip
of
our nice little raspberry cranberry martini.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cute.
So good. Okay.
So what, Tara? You don't like my eyes or her hair? Is that
Wow.
what you're saying? No, thank you. We love you. Thank you for watching, my love.
Yes. And thank you for referring me to as the friend.
This is the beautiful Sienna Rose, for anybody who doesn't know.
Hello.
And I'm the more mature Anita Manager. I didn't even know what to say.
Okay.
I didn't eat anything
At
today.
least you remembered your name that time.
Anita Manager.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you the next question because I know the answer to this one.
What? No. Okay. Well, go for it. Good, because I can't pronounce that word anyway, so go for it.
Psychiatric?
Yep.
What year did the American Psychiatric Association remove homosexuality from the list of mental illnesses?
Not soon enough.
Was it 1963, 1968, 1973, or 1978?
So I'm very confident it ends in either a 3 or an 8.
There you go.
Uh-huh.
Moving along.
Oh, yes.
All right, I'll read it again for everybody at home. What year did the American Psychiatric Association remove homosexuality from its list of mental illnesses? Was it 63, 68, 73, or 78? Now, I spoke too soon because we were just talking about this earlier. And I don't know which one it is, so I'm in the same boat as you.
I think I remember. So I would be very proud of myself if I get this one correct as well. But I would really like to wait and see what everybody else is saying in the comment section. Shh, the comment section. Yes, so if you guys could help me out here and keep my winning streak going. Okay, so Austin is saying 68. Tony, who is never wrong, is saying 1978.
Mama Manager spoke.
Which is what I was also leaning towards, let that be known. And Max is saying 1973.
So, okay, so 1978. What was happening in 1978? That was like at the peak of the ERA, right?
Yes.
Okay. So there was a lot of movements going on then. So that is a strong possibility. 63 was right around the time of Bernard.
When was the rocket ship? No, because I remember the song from Even Stevens, like the whole musical number that they did, but I can never remember the actual year. We went to the moon and da-da-da-da. You know the song. You know what I'm talking about.
I have never felt older having a conversation with you.
No, come on. I know somebody in the comment section is going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Can somebody please... Was it 1969, right? Is it 1969? We went to the moon, 1969.
So
yes.
Even Stevens was the one with Shia LaBeouf, right?
Before he went crazy, yes. And Christy Carlson Romano, who is also from my hometown, Milford, Connecticut. Fun fact.
Is it fun?
It is. I met her. She's actually very nice.
Fun fact.
Yes. Moon Song, 1969. Thank you.
Okay, so...
Okay. So, didn't help me at all, but I just wanted to get that out there. Okay, so I think I'm going to go with my first choice and also your mother's first choice of 1978.
I'm going to say 1973.
Well, you're wrong.
Am I? I'm right! Oh my god! Excuse me.
Wow.
Anyway.
You failed me, Tony. You failed me.
The first time I disagree with... Well, that's a big lie. But the first time that my mother has been wrong on this show.
I really thought it was 1978 because we had a whole conversation that it took so long for it to happen.
Okay, so on December 15th, 1973, by a vote of 5,854 to 3,810...
Well, I have 3,810 letters to write.
The EPA removed homosexuality from the...
APA.
APA, what did I say?
EPA.
Okay.
You were thinking the ERA.
I was. The APA removed homosexuality from the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual
Thank God you're reading
of
this. There's a lot
Mental
of words.
Disorders, or DSM-2, as the
Go for it.
sociopathic personality disturbance. It was added to the DSM. I think I've had one of those before.
Oh.
In 1952, but it was illegal before then.
It was illegal?
No, illegal. Oh yeah. Homosexual acts weren't decriminalized until 2000.
Ma'am?
Excuse us? Wow, we had a fact check. We had a double thumbs up. Homosexuality acts weren't decriminalized until 2003's Supreme Court case, Lawrence versus Texas. I actually knew that.
Oh, wow.
Which struck down the state's anti-sodomy laws and effectively did so nationwide by
being a U.S. Supreme Court ruling.
Yes, thank you. A lot of words tonight.
Can we go back to your previous answer and just eliminate Texas?
Okay.
That was a lot. That was a lot, so cheers.
Ooh,
Glad you read that one, not me. We'll
Okay.
still be on it.
All right, so before we get to our next question, I would very much like it if you can give that chocolate and cream a stir.
Okay.
And once you incorporate it a little bit, if you could just throw in that butter. So
Ooh,
into the chocolate, we're going to add 25 grams of room temperature butter. You don't want it melted because it will affect the outcome of the ganache. And you don't want it cold because it's cold. It's not going to do it. It's just going to sit in there like a lump and it's going to be gross. You don't want to do that. Okay. So, while she is mixing this, I will ask the next question.
Didn't you just ask the last one? Shouldn't I get to ask this one?
You give me that. I'll stir this.
Here you go.
May I have the butter, please?
Of course. Here you go. So, this is our final question of the night. In what state was the first openly LGBT plus candidate elected to public office in the United States?
Tiger King!
No. No. Very much no. No.
I don't even know his name. I just know his name.
Joe Exotic. In what state was was the first openly LGBT plus candidate elected to a public office in the United States? Was it A, Connecticut, B, Massachusetts, C, Michigan, or D, California? Now, Max is saying California. Does that help you at all?
It doesn't because, like...
Oh, so you're going to discredit him completely.
No. Follow my logic. Follow my logic.
I'm trying.
Okay, so I haven't eaten anything today. This martini's getting to me, right? So
I wouldn't know what that's
my mom was already wrong, right?
Okay.
So Missy...
She gonna beat you for this.
So Max is my daughter. She's Missy, mischievous. You can follow her on all social media. So if my mom was wrong...
And
I feel
also,
like,
happy belated birthday, Max.
Yes, happy birthday. I am afraid that it might be a running theme of the evening.
Okay, now we have a whole slew of different possibilities. We have Kristen saying Michigan. We have your mother, Tony, saying Massachusetts. We have Tara saying California. So that's 2 for California, 1 for Michigan, 1 for Massachusetts. Keely is also saying Michigan.
Michigan was my first thought.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Which one?
I am going to take a quick break from this question and get back to the recipe. We've been going for a really long time. This is the longest episode by far.
What time is it? Oh, wow.
It is 10 of 9. Okay, so.
Well, they missed us. We have to make up for lost time.
It's a big welcome back episode.
She'll throw you over her knee.
Ooh. I almost made that sexual. That's
so
uncomfortable.
No.
Goodness gracious.
No.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to pipe the chocolate sauce, or the ganache, onto half of them. We are going to then take an open bag of raspberry jelly.
Cute.
And we are going to pipe that onto the other half. Now, like I said, you don't have raspberry jelly, use raspberry preserves. You don't have preserves, use fresh raspberries.
Sure.
You don't have that?
You don't like raspberries? Use strawberry.
Screw it. Just use the chocolate.
Yeah.
Who says no to chocolate? Okay, so let's get back to our question. While I sandwich these back together, I put it off as long as I could.
Yep, your stalling is over.
Okay, so in what state was the first openly LGBT candidate elected to public office in the United States?
Where are you eliminating?
I am eliminating Connecticut.
Bye.
I feel like it would pop to my mind immediately.
Okay, so that's gone.
Okay.
Physically, it's gone.
I'm going to not eliminate California because it's a pretty liberal state.
As are we.
Yes, but we live here. I feel like it would have jumped out in my mind if it was Connecticut.
Okay. Fair. Maybe. We'll see.
Massachusetts is also super liberal.
I think all of these states are pretty liberal minus 1.
I'm going to have to go with Michigan.
The one not so liberal.
The least liberal of them all. I'm going to have to go with Michigan. I feel like I'm wrong, but I feel like I want it to be right.
I think you're right.
I'm right!
You are right. Yes, so, do you want to take this one?
Sure.
Okay.
Kathy Kozashikanako. That's close enough.
It actually kind of is.
Won a seat on the Ann Arbor, Michigan City Council on April 2nd, 1974. She was 21 at the time and is now 67 years old.
Good for you, Kathy.
This happened 3 years before Harvey Milk But Kathy was immensely private and wasn't backed by a major gay rights organization, so she received very little public attention. Even today, she is super private and didn't even agree to an interview about her life and time in politics in 2015.
Wow.
Regardless, thank you, Kathy K.
Kathy
for being
Zamolodchikova. We'll just put that out there. Sure. Maybe. I don't know. It's Kozachenko. Kozachenko.
Because we're what? We're learning queens.
We know how to sound out words here at Sip and Simmer.
Slowly,
Sometimes.
we get there eventually. Okay.
Where are you gonna put? There's no. Okay.
I'm just gonna throw it on top.
All right.
All right. So, again, thank you so much to everybody for tuning in for another episode of Sip and Simmer.
Oh yes.
Thank you, as always, to my beautiful co-host, Sienna Rose.
My pleasure to be here.
Thank you guys for really sticking it through for this really long episode.
We apologize, but y'all had a good time, right?
We missed you, and we just wanted to make it up to you.
Mm-hmm.
And as always, I'm Anita Manager. You're amazing. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Goodbye, guys. Okay.
These are actually delicious.
I cannot wait to try one of
Yeah,
these.
just go for it.
Just go for it?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm starving.